Everyone's asking, what extracurriculars do Ivy Leagues actually want? Which ones that if you have them, they'll accept you? I work with a team with over 25 years of experience in admissions, and we've seen the patterns. And here's the problem. The things everyone thinks impress Ivy Leagues usually don't. So in this video, I'm gonna break down what they don't want, what they do want, and I'll even show you a step-by-step process to actually build a top-tier extracurricular activity. So the first thing I wanna show you is what they don't want. First of all, they don't want a whole lot of nothing. This could be 1,000 clubs, a whole bunch of activities, just activities with a lot of fluff, yearly trying different things and never really sticking to anything. That's not really what they want. And a really good way to portray this is with water buckets. And I did my best with my drawings here. I think they ended up looking pretty nice, but the main point is this. This is what most students' extracurriculars look like. This is the perfect representation of wasted effort. At some point, yes, you want to fill as many buckets as possible, since that way you can have as much water as you can, and then you can save all of that and then get new water buckets and then start filling those. So you can say you filled 1,000 buckets. But eventually, that's just a leaky water bucket. You didn't even notice that it had holes in them. So what's better, 1,000 leaky buckets, so you can say you filled 1,000, or 2 to 3 completely filled ones that will remain filled until you decide to take the water out. Trying to fill buckets with holes is like trying to do 1 billion extracurriculars at the same time. It could sound impressive that you're doing a ton of things, but it's better to just focus on 1 or 2 and not just be a member, not just be there, not just fill it up with a little water. So go ahead, start by choosing a water bucket, cover the holes so it doesn't leak, and then fill it up until it literally overflows. And when it cannot take any more water and it's not leaking, then go get another bucket, cover the holes, and start filling that one next. So if you're gonna do something, you need to have depth, not only be the shallow water in the bottom of the bucket. So the second thing I wanted to show you is that they don't want manufactured stuff with no measurable impact. This could be just random nonprofits with one member, which is you. It could be pay-to-play programs. There are a lot of programs that you just pay and go. That could sound impressive, but like that's what it is. And flimsy roles, things that you fill up with fluff so that they sound impressive. You don't really say quantifiable numbers, and it could be interpreted as 1,000 different things. Just as an example, an underwater ceramic technician. I mean, if you're a dishwasher, you can just say that. It's way better than trying to stuff it and saying that you are an underwater ceramic technician at a 7-figure business and you're a dishwasher at a restaurant. I'm not saying that that's wrong at all. That's actually pretty cool, and that will give for really good essays having that real work experience. But don't try to fluff it up and make it sound way more impressive than it is, because that'll just make it seem like you're not authentic at all and you're just trying to look good. So don't fluff it up. Don't be an underwater ceramic technician. Just be a dishwasher. That's okay. Then they also don't want half-assed projects. So let's say you started a podcast and you only have 3 episodes, or you have generic volunteering. It's really just doing things for the sake of doing them and saying you did them, even though like you never really went deep or even tried. And this is something that's natural, that will happen to you, because every single time that you start a new activity, that you start something new, it's really, really exciting. But after a while, it just gets boring, and it also gets really hard. And that's when you just want to stop. And if you stop, it will be just half-assed. You never really tried at all. And if you never really tried, why would a college accept you? Like, why would they accept someone that they know probably won't do much with the degree that they are going to give them? Like, they not only want your money, but they also want you to actually use their degree so you can go further in life and give credit back to the college. That's really what they want. They want to keep growing their prestige. A really cool story that shows the importance of not half-assing things is the story of Matthew McConaughey. He's one of the biggest actors right now. He acted in Interstellar, in The Wolf of Wall Street, and for me, he's one of my biggest inspirations. And in his book called Green Light, and it's an amazing read. If you haven't read it, please go ahead and do it. But in his book, he talks about a story where he was in law school and he decided at one point that he didn't really want to be a lawyer forever. And he didn't really want to go into law school and stay there until getting his degree. So he comes up to his dad, who is really, really strict, and trembling and sweating, he says to him, "Dad, I have to tell you something. I don't want to be in law school anymore. I want to be an actor. And I want to change my major to film production." He expected his dad to explode. "Why are you doing this? This makes no sense. How are you going to be an actor?" But his dad said, son, is that really what you want? Yeah, Dad, yeah, that's really what I want. I want to be an actor. Well, don't half-ass it. McConaughey then goes to say that this interaction with his dad made him actually go all in and actually risk everything for his acting career. And most likely, not half-assing it is what got him his Oscar. So if you're gonna do something, if you're gonna start an activity, do not half-ass it. If you're gonna do it, go all in, try your best. And if you fail, there's no problem. And honestly, in my personal opinion, if you never stop, you cannot fail. You can just keep trying new iterations of different things until something sticks. But I understand you have limited time. That's the case for high schoolers and college applicants. So if you fail, if you feel like it's gonna take way too long, then you can just leave it at that. But at least you tried, at least you know that you give it your best. And that's really all that matters. And worst case scenario, this failure is something that you can talk about in your essays. And in my opinion, failures are really strong on college applications because failing gives you new perspectives. It teaches you so much that it's actually good if you fail at something you really tried at. And the last thing they don't want is activities that have no transferable skills. In my opinion, most do, but the only ones that wouldn't have are the ones where you just follow rules or they tell you what to do. For example, you're a social media manager and they just tell you, yeah, post this. And they send you the picture done and you literally don't do anything. But even in those scenarios, like you will still learn something if you really want to learn something. You can learn about being patient, about being able to work in another environment. You can always learn something, but they have to see that at least for those activities, you did have something that's transferable. I've seen students make really mediocre activities look really nice just by saying what they learn in there. Obviously, they're still not going to be the best activities in their application, most likely, but if they just had an opportunity to take a program that maybe was for free and everyone can join, they can talk about what they learn on there. At least that's a transferable skill. That's like the bare minimum you should have for an extracurricular. Now, the first thing they actually do want is sustained depth, initiatives, impact, just one lane, many repetitions until you build something. Going back to the half-assed projects, this is really not half-assing it, right? Actually doing something a lot of times until you actually become pretty good at it. This is starting a business, being really excited within the first couple of months, then it's really hard, you cannot make any money, you cannot grow it, you're going to give up, but still not giving up, adjusting the product, keep going for years even, until you actually build something worth talking about. And this is represented by the graph of success, where X is consistency and Y is performance and results. So the idea is for this to be you. Really happy, you know, really happy, really nice. For you to actually hike through this huge mountain and actually make it to the top. And as you know, to hike the mountain, you need to go through the mountain. It's not like you could just be put on the top. So what's probably obvious to you is that with more consistency comes better performance and results, right? Obviously, the more you do, the better you'll do, and the more you'll get back for your efforts. So let's say, for example, you're going to the gym and you are into bodybuilding and you really want to compete and you're completely into that. So the first day you step into the gym, you have no idea what you're doing, you know nothing about your workouts, you have no idea what your diet should be, nothing, but you're just learning, so you improve pretty slowly. Eventually, you kind of like understand how it works and you start blowing up, you start really improving your stuff, you start really optimizing your technique and you actually start getting real results. And this is pretty quick. But eventually, when you get to a certain physique, then that kind of drops off. And it's really hard to keep improving after that. So the more consistency eventually doesn't give you much better performance and results. It kind of stagnates. But when you get to this point, you're already an expert. You already did something really impressive. So what we're trying to do here with your extracurricular activities is get you to this point on at least one or two different things. I mean, it doesn't have to be bodybuilding, but for any extracurricular that's more of a passion project or something you build yourself, this is kind of how it would look like and you should end up right there. And again, going back to the metaphor about the water bucket, this is filling up the water bucket, and then when you stagnate over here, it's time to get on the new one. Then the second thing they want to see is alignment with your theme. Any Ivy League application that truly wants to be as competitive as possible should have a theme. And the theme is mainly the thread that connects every single different aspect of who you are in your application. So as an example of a really good theme would be, let's say you're really into neuroscience and music. So you go to assisted living facilities to actually do research and study the effects of music on Alzheimer's patients. That will connect both those interests into something that fits as a theme. So something that works for Ivy League extracurriculars is that they connect to your academic identity and story. Basically, just do cool shit. If you frame it that way, you can probably imagine, okay, this is cool, this is not cool, but it sounds really vague. So let me go exactly into how to make something cool. So let's start with an example. Let's say you really like Clash Royale. And yes, I know it's just a game on your phone that you play sometimes maybe, but this is the whole point. So let's say you really like Clash Royale. You literally play every single day. You've been playing ever since the game was released and you love the game, right? It's fine. Eventually, you actually spend so much time into it that you might as well make it into an extracurricular worth putting on your application. So what do? Well, maybe you're actually really good at the game. So you start making YouTube videos. Maybe about best strategies, maybe about best decks, maybe about just funny things in the game. You make a YouTube channel. And then when you get more and more subscribers and more views, then you launch a Discord community, let's say. And there you get some people and you actually start building a community where you guys maybe play tournaments every once in a while. Maybe you guys join a clan and then you make videos with them and you keep that cycle until you actually grow something. After that, when everything keeps compounding, then maybe you go and launch a product. Maybe you launch a $10 course on how to get better at Clash Royale. Maybe that gets some sales, maybe it doesn't, but you keep trying and you keep building upon it. Doesn't that sound at least kind of cool? Someone is just playing Clash Royale as a game and that's it. And this guy makes money from the video game. In my opinion, that's kind of cool. Even if in the beginning he sounded kind of like a loser, like, oh, he plays all the time Clash Royale, like, oh, what a loser. But this is kind of cool. So this follows the cool shit system. And we made this to systematize making something lame or normal into something that's cool and really good for a college application if you want to end up doing that. So the first step of the cool shit system is to pick a lane. In this case, with Clash Royale, it would be gaming. Step 2, build around it, right? This could be a YouTube channel, Discord, anything else. Then you stay consistent. This is keep posting to YouTube channel, keep getting members on Discord, keep growing the same thing you've been doing for a while now, and keep doing it for a longer while. This is supposed to take a long time, especially if you're just beginning and you've never done anything like this before. You'll have no idea what you're doing at first, and it's gonna take a while before you see compounding growth. So you need to stay consistent. Eventually, when you get the results, you can scale the impact. YouTube and Discord is really compounding as well. Like, if you get more people, you'll get referrals, more people will come in. The more people means the more people will come in. It's really compounding and pre-exponential growth. But scaling the impact in this case would be selling the course in the story of the Clash Royale kid that we just talked about. And lastly, reflect and reframe. Going from lame to cool. And this is completely subjective, but you're not gonna be able to do all this stuff if you don't think like it's pretty cool or that it has the potential to be really cool. I'm not saying Clash Royale is lame, I do play sometimes, but this is more about embracing those things that are really quirky about you. For example, I know this guy that wears really weird shirts, like those shirts that you would see on Amazon that are really, really bad, and he wears them proudly with like a suit on top. He looks really cool. But if it wasn't for his vibe, he would just look stupid. But he just doesn't care. He loves his shirts. He actually just has a bunch of them so he can show like, hey, look at my stupid shirt. And that's what it's all about. Embracing those things. And then you can talk about them in an essay, or you can ignore all those steps and just get a cool internship or something. Honestly, sometimes you just don't have to build something yourself. It can just be, there's a really nice company out there and you manage to get an internship somehow. Go ahead, that's pretty cool, right? Doesn't have to be things like this, but if you think something's cool, go and do it. And again, just like the other things, it's cool to fail as well. Actually, that would make for a really good story for an essay later. So yeah, just do cool shit. That's really what it is. Then the third thing that colleges want is external proof. And this is more important every single year. So having numbers that you can put in, having users, revenue, published work, things that are provable that you've actually achieved something in them. Some colleges are actually using AI to do background research on applicants because obviously they don't have time to Google everything. So sometimes they do use AI to get more information on them. If your name is in Google or is in any search engine out there, it will appear for the AI, and that would be really good for you so that you can have proof of the things you've actually done. And if it's not through the AI, going back to the Clash Royale example, having subscribers, having community members is proof. And that just works. If you have people willing to follow you for a game, that means people like you, that means you have something else that others don't. That's what external proof is for. It gives you the chance to show that people believe in you and that maybe the admissions officers are not seeing something, or they will look more into who you are since you do have this external proof from other people. And the last thing that they do want is that you have learned valuable skills. This is not only like skills you learn from something, this is like valuable skills. Let's say you've done a cool internship, just as we mentioned previously, and in there you gained sales experience. So you talked with clients. You know how to communicate with them. You know how to actually build relationships with people higher up than you, let's say, in a business. On the other hand, let's go back to the other example I made from the guy that likes music and neuroscience. There's a lot of things to be learned by doing research, by interacting with people with Alzheimer's, by trying to look into these other places and seeing a little bit of the reality of the world. Valuable skills learned could be being a dishwasher. Don't call it underwater ceramic technician, but being a dishwasher gives you a perspective about real life that other people just may not have. That's actually why jobs work so good on college applications, because it shows that you know the real world. So learn valuable things and prioritize your learning over a lot of other options. Usually, the things that teach you the most are the best, not only for your college application, but for life in general. I hope this helped you understand more about how to build good extracurriculars for your college application, especially for Ivy Leagues, since they do look for really specific types of students. Here's the full page if you want to check it out. And I can't wait to see what kind of cool shit you end up building with this information.